In this video, I'm going to unbox and assemble the all-new Ouxi V8 Mini. Now, this is a 16-inch fat tire e-bike that's made for shorter riders and teens. I'm going to show you how to assemble the bike, but before we get started, a link to the bike is above and also in the description. I hope that you like this video. Subscribe to my channel and let's get after it. In this box, you're going to get all the tools, the pedals, the charger, and you have some pegs here for an extra rider, but everything you need to assemble the bike is in this box. In order to remove the battery, you're going to see the keys are attached here to the frame. Go ahead and cut that off. And it's pretty neat. It comes with these remotes, and the keys are for unlocking the battery from the frame like this. Then you're going to push up, remove the battery, and I'm going to get this charging so it charges the battery while I'm assembling the bike, and I can take this out for a ride sooner than later. Alright, first thing we're going to do is get the handlebars and stem installed. I'm going to open up the tool kit. I'm going to pull out this hex wrench like this, and I'm going to loosen this bolt on top. What I want to do is take this stem and I'm just going to flip it over like this, straighten it out, and then reinstall it back on the top cap. Don't over tighten it or the steering will be too tight to steer, and then you're going to tighten the tool bolts on each side. Now that I got that stem installed, I'm going to reach inside the tool kit here. There's some caps. I'm going to go ahead and install the caps on the top of the fork. Just place them in there like this, then pound them in. And then with a 4mm hex key, you're going to remove the stem cap here on the end to install the handlebars. Bring up the handlebars like this. I'm going to make sure that the ridges are centered in the stem cap, and then I'm going to reinstall the stem cap. If you don't have a torque wrench, just turn these about a quarter turn past tight. Now you might have to come back and adjust this when you want to get the handlebars at the right angle, but just tighten this down for now, and then you can always come back and adjust it. Next step is to install the front tire. Remove that protective cap. You want to make sure the brake rotor is on this side with the brake caliper. I'm going to set that over there, and then you're going to see here this metal piece here is a shipping bolt, so it keeps the fork stabilized. And what you want to do is lift the bike up and remove this, and that can be discarded. And then when you're looking at the wheel, you want to remove the nut from each side of the wheel. And then you'll see that there's a spacer with a little tab on it. You want to keep that. And then do the same for the other side. And now bring the wheel over like this, and then lift the front of the bike up. Slide it in. Get the rotor lined up with the caliper. Put the dropouts through the bolt or axle. And then what you want to do is take the tab washer and ensure that it goes into the little hole on the fork right here, and then install the nut. And you're going to do the same for the other side. those finger tight. Reach back here and put the kickstand down. Now that I have the kickstand down and the bike is supported, I'm going to use both 15mm wrenches and tighten the bolts down like that. There we have it. Front wheel is on. To adjust the front brake if it's rubbing, you can see if I lift this up, you can see that it rubs. So I'll show you how to easily fix that issue. What you want to do is loosen the bolts here that hold the brake caliper. You just got to loosen them about 2 turns. There's one there, and then there's one on the bottom here. It loosens the brake caliper. It allows it to move around in and out like that. And then what you'll do is you'll reach up to the handlebars, depress the lever so that the caliper centers on the rotor, and then go ahead and retighten these bolts, both top and bottom, while holding the lever tight. Now that brake caliper should be centered. So if I lift this up, you can see that it freely spins. I'm good to go. If it rubs a little bit, it's okay. The brake pad will wear in. But if it doesn't move freely like you saw, then you want to go ahead and try it again. Now the front tire is installed. We're going to install the front fender. To do so, we want to remove this bolt on the top of the fork carryover. I'm going to use a 10mm wrench on the back to hold the lock nut, and then use the 5mm wrench to loosen the bolt. Next, we want to remove the bolt down here that will hold the fender standoffs. Go ahead and remove this bolt from each side of the fork. Remove this little plastic piece holding the fender standoffs. And then what we want to do is slide the fender in from the back here. You might have to just kind of twist it around, bring it up like this, and then you could put the bolt back on that will support the fender with the nut on the back. Leave that finger tight right now, and then I'm going to install the standoffs. Then I'm going to go ahead and tighten everything down. Hold the nut with the 10mm wrench. Before you get too far, there's these little rubber caps that go on that cover the bolts for the axle. Go ahead and place them on the nut and then simply push them on. Kind of gives it a cool look. You don't have to install those, but they are a nice feature. In this segment, we're going to install the headlight. I'm going to take these brackets, slide them out like this. Make sure these rubber stoppers, that the flat part kind of points towards the frame so that these brackets don't crash into the frame. Then take your headlight, remove the bolt on each side, make sure the cable's towards the bottom, and then what we want to do is slide the bolt through like that, and then you want to put the rubber washer on there between the bracket and the headlight, and then go ahead and tighten that down, like finger tight, and you want to do the same for the other side. Go ahead and stick that on there, then the rubber washer. Use the wrench that has the 13 on it, and you could tighten this down a couple turns. You don't want to tighten it too much or you'll crack the plastic housing on the headlight. Just enough to get this washer crushed a little bit, the rubber washer. Maybe one full turn. There we have it. And then the most important thing, you want to make sure that you connect the headlight. You'll see on this cable, there's an orange cable. Connect the headlight. You're going to line up the arrows on the cable and then connect it and tuck it in. We got the headlight installed. Next, we're going to install the pedals. What you want to do is look at the end of the pedals. You'll see that there's a left and a right, and it corresponds to the crank arm, has a left here. So I'm going to go ahead and install this. It tells me to turn this counterclockwise. Go ahead and turn this, and then I can use my 15mm wrench, tighten that down. Now I'm going to do the same for the right side, but I'm going to turn it the opposite way, counterclockwise. Next, we're going to install these pegs that go on the back like this. You could carry a second rider. I'm not sure how long you'd like to carry a rider for on this bike, considering the seat's kind of small, but for short duration, it's definitely doable. Fold up nicely. I'm going to go ahead and put the other side on. Now to secure the screen so it doesn't slide around, you're going to use the Phillips head screwdriver. Reach in here and tighten the screws down on the mounts to the handlebar like that. Now you can add the reflector if you want, but since it has a headlight, I'm going to leave the reflector off. Go ahead, remove the screen, move back here, move that. Before installing the battery, I'm going to go ahead and inflate the tires with the pump. Since this tire is a little bit soft, I don't have a pressure gauge right now, so I'm going to go by feel, but you don't want to overinflate these tires because they will pop and then you'll have to change the tube inside. So we'll go ahead and compress that down. If you have a pressure gauge, it says max 30 psi. I wouldn't go more than 28 psi, probably preferably 25. All right, that feels good. Go ahead and inflate the back tire. To install the battery, you're going to need the keys. And to check the battery voltage, what you want to do is turn the battery on with the red switch on the side and then hold the button like this. You can see that it's full, it's fully charged. And what I want to do is shut the switch off. I'm going to go ahead and slide the battery in and then down, and then use the key to lock the battery in the frame like that. And what you want to do most importantly is take one of these keys and the remotes and put them in a safe spot. That way, if you lose them, you'll have the spare at home and the battery won't be locked on the frame. Now that we have the battery installed, we want to go ahead and turn that on. And then you're going to hit the power button here on the side. And on is the screen. And you'll see that it's a nice, beautiful, big color screen. And it looks like the default is set to miles per hour. And then to change the pedal assist modes to increase the speed, you'll just hit the up button or the plus button. That goes to pedal assist mode 5. And you'll see that I believe the top speed is 20. This is a class 2 e-bike, so the top speed is restricted to 20 miles per hour. Let's see what's here on the functions. If you hit the I button, it goes to the trip odometer. If you go to the next button, that's the voltage. And then there's a timer. And then there's a trip A. And then the average miles per hour. And then the max. And back to the odometer. Let's see what else is on here. This is the screen brightness or dimming. So it's kind of nice. You can do it on the fly. That's for at night. And then the brighter screen for the daytime. And then if you need to shut the bike off, you can simply hit the power button. So let's turn this back on. You do have a headlight. This is the headlight switch. This is the directionals. The directionals are only in the rear. You do have a horn. This is the 7-speed shifter for pedaling. You have a half twist throttle. And then you have front and rear brakes. So you get a lot with this bike. I'm really liking the screen that they put on the Ouxi V8 Mini. It's pretty impressive. And let's see what this remote does. Now, this remote allows you to lock the bike. So if I were to shut the power off on the bike, and then I can hit the lock button, the bike is locked. So let's see. If I were to move it, now the alarm goes off. And I can turn that off if I need to. Then I can hit unlock, and then I can turn the bike on. Let's see something. If I turn the power off, and I hit the lock button. Can I turn the bike on? Yeah, but the alarm goes off. So I have to hit unlock. That's pretty neat. I like the alarm that it has, but can I take the bike? That's one thing. Can I ride off with it even though the alarm's on? So let's see. If I shut the bike off, I'm going to hit arm. I'm going to turn the bike on. It's going, and now I'm going to change it. I could still take off with the bike, so this alarm is just an alert. It doesn't quite disable the bike, so I'm a little disappointed with that. But overall, it's pretty neat that it comes with these remotes. Let's see. You can hit that, and then you can set the alarm off if you want. So it's pretty neat that it has the remote. I just wish that the remote disabled the bike. To get to the advanced settings menu, to change it from miles per hour to kilometers, what you'll want to do is hold the I button. And the first P setting is for the screen brightness. You can see that it dims. I'm going to leave it on the brightest setting, which is 03. To go to the next setting, that's P02. This is for miles per hour or kilometers. Kilometers is 00. I'm going to leave it in kilometers. P03 is to reset the odometer. And P04 is to turn on the cruise control. And then you come back to P01. There's only 4 settings. So now if I go back to this, you're going to see that it says kilometers. And let's check the speed. Should bring me up to about 28.8 kilometers per hour that you see there. And that's how it's done. I hope that you liked this video, subscribe to my channel, and thanks for watching.